It all starts with little Dannah Barker, who wanted to be a veterinarian when I grew up. There is nothing better than critters. I love them. There is not a critter on the earth I don't love. After I meet Jesus in heaven, I want to meet Mrs. Noah. I am just enamored with animals. Now, I should put a little disclaimer in there, especially for Dr. White, that I'm not one of those tree huggers and animal lovers to the point that I'm not a wise steward. I do not begrudge your ability to shoot little Bambi's mom. I understand population control, okay? I'm a wise woman. But you cannot begrudge me that every fall, when hunting season kicks up and all the bucks come running like crazy on my 11 acres of property, I roll down my window and I say, "Come closer to the house. They can't get you there." But I absolutely love creation, and that's a very big part of my testimony, and one of the reasons why I wanted so much to be a veterinarian. But when I was 8 years old in a church service, the Lord called me very clearly to be a teacher. I don't know if any of you have ever had that kind of experience as a child, but I knew that God was saying, I want you to teach children. And exactly 10 years after that church service and my calling to teach children, I would be off to Cedarville University to make my dreams come true. I didn't have to struggle with what my major would be. I knew I would be an elementary education teacher, and that would be what enabled me to pursue this God-sized dream in my heart. But something got in the way. And to understand what got in the way, I have to go back to creation again, because it was a misunderstanding of creation that disrupted my plan. Now, I don't know who can possibly look at creation and not worship God. I mean, is there anything better than standing on the edge of the ocean and just feeling the breeze and the bigness of God, or a sunset? These kinds of things make me worship, but nothing makes me worship more than critters. I see them, and whether they're wild or domesticated, I speak with them every time. And I love all of them. There's not a single one I don't love, but I have 19 of my very own that I love very, very much. In fact, I want to share with you a little bit about how I worship God when I see them. I worship God when I watch my horses run in the pasture. It is amazing to me that they can run on those skinny little legs. It is actually a miracle that they can carry 1,500 pounds of muscle and strength on something so thin. But what's a greater miracle of science is that those skinny legs can continue the process of circulation, feeding blood back up into that heavy body. But God created those feet very uniquely so that there's a pad on the bottom of their foot that when it feels pressure, it suddenly turns into a pump, shooting blood back up through that skinny leg into that massive body. You know, when I see that, I think of Genesis 1 and 2. And my spirit says, it is good. It is good. What was God saying when he said, it is good, over and over again in the process of creation? I want to make clear the definition that I'm going to work with for that word good today, because certainly when it comes to you and I, if we are part of a creation, we are good. But there's also Psalm 51:5. Surely I was sinful at birth, sinful from the moment my mother conceived me. And that's not so good. So how can we be sinful and still be good? Well, I think in the context of creation, what God was saying was a little bit like what we say when we take that first bite of a perfectly baked, cheesy, melted colonial pizza. When we say, that's good. What we're saying is, I enjoy it. It's just as I wanted it to be. It's just right. And I think when God was saying, it is good to creation, he was saying, I enjoy you. I enjoy you. And certainly we can see throughout Scripture that creation enjoys God back. It's the chief end of man. It's our purpose to enjoy God back. Psalm 19:1 reads, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork." Creation says, God, you are good. God, we enjoy you. And so when I look at those horses, my spirit says, you are good, God. You are good. You know, one of my favorite things to do is to worship God when one of my mama llamas brings a new baby into the world. I should say that my mama llamas are much more proficient at birth than April the giraffe. They get it done. The Lord created them to live predominantly in the cold, snow-capped mountains of the Andes in South America. And therefore, he created them to give birth precisely between 8 a.m. and noon, so that they would have the heat of the day and the warmth of the sun for the rest of the day to dry their bodies off and be healthy before the cool of night set in. Isn't that amazing? Some of you and your moms, you're going to be like, if only we could have been like the llamas. If God could have done this a different way. But when I look at them, I think it is good. That's my little Nessa Rose, my little baby Nessie. I find incredible joy when I look at our peacock. His name is Alexander the Gresh. And sometimes he gets a little confused about who he should be strutting for. But even when it's for Cassie the donkey, I am amazed at his feathers. I'm amazed at his tail. You know, God created them to appear, their colors change. Depending on the angle I look at him, I see green, blue, or bronze. And let me show you a close-up of how God did this. He wove together, intricately wove together, unlike any other feather on the planet, these colors. And then on top of that, listen, engineers are going to get really excited just now. There is a thin film coating on top of those feathers. So thin film coating is the technology that's used for your cell phone to work, to move things around, right? So things look different. It wasn't invented by Apple. Invented by God. And that's the reason that we can see. I mean, and then there's the eye feather, the magnificent eye feather. You know, each of those feathers is a mathematical improbability. Shouldn't even be. There are multiple equations, in fact, 200 equations, complicated equations, like, here's one, x squared divided by a squared plus y squared divided by b squared equals 1. I don't know what I just said, but that calculation and 3 others have to be produced 50 times for those eye feathers to turn out looking like eyes. And it's a mathematical probability. When I look at my peacock, I have to say, oh, it is good. God, it is good.